Hello friends, so I'm back with my new video, and this time my video is about Chaucer's The Canterbury Tales. Now before going into the details of Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, let me tell you a few important things about this work. Right. So basically, you know, when we talk about Canterbury Tales, at first we have to know about the prologue to the Canterbury Tales, because Canterbury Tales, though it is similar to that of a modern day novel, but it has around 24 tales, right? And before going into the tales, the narrator of this work, who is believed to be Chaucer, he gives a very brief introduction in his prologue. So probably all of you know that the word prologue, it's kind of an introduction to a work. So in the prologue, Chaucer, he gives a very brief description about the various characters, those who are there in his phenomenal work, the Canterbury Tales. So there are 29 pilgrims, right? And they are uh, going to the shrine of the martyr St. Thomas Becket. Now the season, it's the month of April, and you see that when we talk about the month of April, you can find that later in the modern works of T.S. Eliot, especially if we consider uh, the wasteland, right? There, April has been it has been said by Eliot that April is the cruelest month. So there's a kind of a subversion, right? Because when we talk about pilgrimage, right, that is in Hindi it's called Tirth Yatra. So people generally they opt for a pleasant season, and since here we are talking about England, so as you all know that in England most of the time of the year it remains chilly, right? I mean it remains cold. So that's why they have a very little time for summer, and that's why April, it's the season of April, it's quite pleasant, and so that's why we can see that Chaucer has opted for the month of April for pilgrimage, first thing. And the second thing is where they are going. They are going to the shrine of Saint Thomas Becket, who was a martyr. Now you can understand that who is a martyr. See, this is a very Christian concept. One who gives his life for the sake of religion, he is called a martyr. For example, we can cite here two examples, two very, in fact, famous examples. The first one from, again, we are going back to T.S. Eliot. He has written a drama, and the name of that drama is Murder in the Cathedral. In that particular drama, it is shown that how St. Thomas Becket, while he had a conflict with the reigning king of England, he gave his life for the sake of religion, for the sake of Christianity. And again, if we go back to John Milton, he has written a very famous tragedy. The name of the tragedy is Samson Agonistes. In that tragedy also you will find that there's a character whose name is Samson Agonistes. He is the protagonist of that tragedy, and he has also given his life for the sake of his own community and for preserving his own community and religion. So this is the concept of martyrdom in very brief, in a nutshell. Now coming back to Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, we can you can write down few important points. Uh, See, here there are around 29 pilgrims, those who are going to the shrine of St. Thomas Becket. And you know what happens, there's a kind of a contest, right? And there's a inn which is located at Southward, and the name of that inn, INN, is Tabard Inn. So there the narrator who is narrating this tale, he joins a company of nearly 29 pilgrims, right? And the host of that uh, inn, whose name is Harry Bailey, Harry, Harry, Bailey, Harry Bailey, he suggests that all the uh, pilgrims, those who are visiting the shrine of St. Thomas Becket, they have to tell two stories while going to the shrine and also while returning back from the shrine. It means that each character, they have to tell around 4 tales, tales each, but it does not take place in reality, because in Canterbury Tales we have around 24 tales, right? So yes, coming back to the prologue, you see that prologue, it's the introduction to this great work. In the prologue, Chaucer, he introduces us with all the 29 pilgrims, and in a more or less he gives a detailed description of about 27 of them, and they include the knight, the squire, the yeoman, the prioress, the monk, the friar, the merchant, the clerk, the man of law, the franklin, the haberdasher, the carpenter, the weaver, the dyer, the tapestry weaver, the cook, the shipman, the physician, the wife, the person, the ploughman, the miller, the manciple, the reeve, the summoner, the pardoner, and the host. Now, one important thing that you have to remember here, that he does not describe the second nun or the nun's priest. Although these characters we find later on in the book. So, these are the characters which Chaucer introduces us in his famous work, rather in the introductory part, that is Prologue to the Canterbury Tales. Now, why this prologue? Why is it so important? Now, before going on to the tales, the actual tales that has been described by the different characters, you have to understand that this prologue is important because it gives us a picture of the contemporary society. That is, we are talking about the 14th century society, right? So we have characters from the different cross sections of the society. As for example, when we talk about the aristocratic class or the ruling class, we get characters such as the knight, the squire, the yeoman. Then we have the ecclesiastical, or the characters those who are connected with the church, like we have the monk, the prioress, the then we have the pardoner, etc. Again, we have certain other characters related to different professions, like the cook, right? Then we have the physician. Then we have another very interesting character, the wife of Bath, whose only passion is getting married, right? So she's a very interesting character, and also we will later on have a different video on it, when I will tell you why she is so important from feminist perspective. So go through a basic reading in Wikipedia, and it is believed that this Canterbury Tales, it's written near about in 1388, right? And one important thing that I would like to add here, that 22 tales are in verse and 2 tales, these are in prose, right? So these important things you have to note down from the net perspective, because they may ask you such type of questions. So I'll come back again with another edition of Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. Thank you. God bless you.